You
Yeah.
sound good, Michelle. Sounds fine.
Yeah. You know how it is right here though. It like goes like but it's okay. We'll just be like rolling with the homies. Welcome
Okay.
to the Now Podcast, episode 13. Today,
Uh-oh.
we're honored to have Ryan Gaynor on our podcast.
13.
Lucky 13.
13.
Ah, threes, right? Uh, let's see. Ryan has a phenomenal journey. After fulfilling stint as a social worker for Fresno County, he decided to take a leap into the world of sales. His career shift was accompanied by a remarkable personal transformation, shedding an impressive 200 pounds.
It's probably closer to 190 now due to COVID and some, I don't know.
All right, we can round up. Let's take the 200. Okay. Uh, so since joining Guarantee Real Estate in 2012, Ryan consistently dominated the field, snagging top sales awards 9 out of the 10 years. Impressive, but not content at personal success alone. You took on the role of mentoring new real estate agents in 2014. You've completed nearly 300 transactions, which is super impressive. Has a thriving team, which you established in 2020. And you took a turn in 2021 going into academia as a
I know.
So that's cool. Teaching at Fresno City College. So join Courtney and I as we explore your remarkable story. We're just so ready to dive in and learn more about personal and professional growth. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, quite the resume.
Well, yeah, and we haven't even talked about what happened this week, which is even nuttier.
Lot of chaos.
It'll pop up here and there.
Chaos in our industry.
Okay.
It's all about you, Ryan. So
Okay.
you get to share our listeners. We've got entrepreneurs and real estate agents listening. So we want to take what you have accomplished in your professional career and share it with those that are listening. Just start off with telling us what has made you so successful in real estate.
Well, I always think back to my junior year of high school. And I was one of the students that, do I like doing homework and busy work? No, that's not exactly how my mind works, but did I understand things and could I pass tests just fine? And the answer to that was always yes. And my high school English teacher said, if all else fails for you in your life, Ryan, your mouth can always make you money. And that has stuck with me, almost 30 years later. And, coming from Fresno County and doing a different industry, I wanted to go into sales. It's just something that I felt that I could be good at, and life at the time allowed me to maybe explore a little bit of a career change. And honestly, it was between real estate and life insurance were my two options in 2012. And in the end, I remember my mother, and I always reference her. We used to go look at new homes all the time. My mom has worked for an architect her whole entire career. And, we used to go look at new homes. We would never buy them. We couldn't afford them. I grew up in a 900 square foot house, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath at Cedar and Shields. I went to Fresno Unified Schools. I graduated McLean, 98. But the interest was always there in real estate. And then, I didn't know much about it and went online, did some searches. And I'm like, well, shoot, it's super easy to get your real estate license. Why don't we just try that? And we did, and I passed the test 3rd time. Well, we backtracked to my previous story about not liking to study and do homework and so on and so forth.
Yeah, but you didn't give up, so you went.
No, you just pay another fee and they let you take it again in a week. Second,
you could have stopped.
To be fair, I only missed it by one question the second time, and the third time I had memorized the test, and I finished in 15 minutes, and then I was
Oh, wow.
a real estate agent. But early on, I liked the vibe of Guarantee. I was in a startup office when I first started in 2012, which had younger, newer agents and a lot of tech forward. 2012 was when we started really evolving into cloud-based systems, digital signatures, moving away from previous ways of doing business. And it really just fit my skill set. And, from there, it just kind of naturally took off. I put in a lot of hard work back then, open houses, following up with people, realizing that real estate in general, especially when you first start, it is a slow burn.
Mm-hmm.
If you want instant gratification, you are not in the right industry. You will meet people at open houses, and then you will get a random text from somebody that you do not remember 6 months, a year later, 2 years later. So a lot of that first 6 months, because I started in August, was just laying the ground for a very successful 2013. And then it just kind of just kept going and kept going to where we are now, which is just, in spite of everything going on with rates the last 2 years, we've still really, myself and my partner, Drew Hyatt, we have been extremely consistent, is the best way to put it. We haven't blown up or anything like that, but we're just consistent where other people are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a testament to both our hard work and the dedication and our commitment to our clients.
Right.
Because you do have to soothe them in tough times like this. And, I tell people all the time that if I'm listing your house, I'm going to be a marketer. When we get offers in, I'm going to be a negotiator and a lawyer. And then when we're in escrow, I'm essentially going to be your psychiatrist for 30 days. Buyers, same sort of thing, and it's something that I think gets lost in this industry at times, is that you are helping someone in the biggest purchase of their life. You are entrusted with a lot of money, and it's something that I'm proud of. Like, I don't have a dollar amount on how much we touched. I mean, it's different in Fresno County. Like, if I'm in the OC and I'm like, oh my God, I've done like $1 billion worth of business in 10 years. Like, that's a cool number. Maybe saying like 200 million, 250 million, like it's a little bit different. But, it's something I'm proud of and something that I maintained that is super serious. I handled hundreds of millions of dollars, got everywhere where they've needed to go, and never been sued. Like,
Wow.
That's something not a lot of people can say, and something that I always take extremely seriously.
Well, and you've served over 300 clients and helped them get home ownership.
Well, and a lot of
That's a
that
big deal.
too, it gets referral based after a while. When you reach a certain point in your career where it's just a domino effect. And that's something I take pride on too, where it's like families, and I've helped their sister, and I've helped them. I had somebody reach out like a month ago, and she's like, do you remember me? And I'm like, yes, I remember you. I helped buy and sell like half your family in 2017. Are you kidding me? You're in my phone. Everybody's in my phone, apparently.
That's good. That's what you want.
Sometimes it takes me a minute to remember. And I just plead ignorant because I am much too chicken to ever ask somebody, where do I know you from?
Right.
Right. I just keep going.
You'll figure it out.
Figure it out. And I always figure it out eventually.
Well, I think that happens to all of us when you've been in the business long enough.
Oh, ask me what my students' names are. I don't
No.
know to save my life.
Not your strength.
No. I have clients sometimes where my trick has always been, we get to a point where it's like, maybe I'll know the wife's name because she's the main point of contact. I put her in the phone. The husband, no clue.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, can you text me what you would like your name to look like officially on title? And then I know all of a sudden that the husband's name was Joe the whole time, and I just didn't realize it.
Right.
Tell me a little bit more about, you have a business partner.
Yes.
Tell us more about the makeup of your team, your organization.
So I met Drew Hyatt and I used to think it was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, but no, it was a minute ago. I think it was like 7 years ago. So Drew Hyatt is a radio personality here in Fresno. He hosts his own radio show on a local radio here. And so for forever, he was like the night guy, which a lot of people don't know how radio works. Night guy meant he went in at like noon, recorded his radio show, and he was done for the day. Like, it took him like an hour for 3.5 hours of content. Like you can't request songs in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's already planned out. But anyways, so he came to me as a mentee. He was not my mentee assigned. I stole him because we vibed. Whatever, it happens. We became quick friends. He, because of his radio connections and various other things, like he had clients right off the bat. So we went to work and we were working hand in hand. Then I broke off from Guarantee. I think it would have been 6 years ago now. I went into new homes briefly. I had reached a point in my career where, I don't know, like 401ks and like paid health insurance sounded like a good idea, which again, I have friends in new homes. They make a good living. I just realized I didn't have to be anywhere I didn't want to be for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And like all of a sudden, I've got to go sit in a trailer. And although I caught up on a lot of shows that I hadn't seen and some other stuff, it just wasn't my vibe. So from there, I broke off and went, well, yeah. And then I went to a startup company, which promptly went out of business in 5 months. I loved it there, but they ran out of money.
Mm-hmm.
And then I dallianced with Remax while I was trying to figure out my life. But then at that point, Drew had evolved his career to the point where he was now the main host of a morning show that required him to get in at 5:30 in the morning, be there till 10:30, and then already running a successful real estate, just his career on his own, he needed help and he needed me. So we brokered a return for me back to Guarantee and we started the group. Here we are 4 years later. We were the number 2 group in the whole company last year, number 3 in sales, and we've been top 5 the last 4 years. And
Wow.
now we are trying to figure out what our next step is our beloved 105-year-old company will cease to exist at 5 p.m. today.
Well,
Yeah.
you have, is it just the 2 of you then, or do you have other
So
agents?
no, we have agents underneath us. Now, we used to have a group about 10 to 15, but the last 2 years have been very tough on real estate agents. It was tough even in COVID times. Because, the natural thing for a new agent is typically to be a buyer's agent. They're easier to find. They're easier to work with sometimes. Not everyone has really good friends that need to sell their homes. So those buyer's agents, in COVID time, they're going up against 20 offers and 3 of them are cash. And I mean, we sold a house for $100,000 over cash, just in the middle of Clovis. Like that's how good the times were.
Mm-hmm.
But then you evolve into low inventory, the amount of people, especially here, that can even afford homes. Like there's just a lack of business in general. So we've had a handful of people that just, and again, it's something I've always maintained. I think you need to be full-time in order to succeed in this business. However, I do not pay your bills.
Yeah.
I do not pay your mortgage. I do not feed your children. So my feelings do not get hurt if you have to do what you need to do in order to survive.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way that I've always felt. So we've lost some people. We keep bringing on more people.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, right now the group is probably going to have about 5 people starting up wherever the heck we land. And we have stuff coming up and, we'll just see where it goes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we should touch on your comment of your brokerage
For sure. What
closing at 5 today. So essentially, just to let our viewers kind of understand where you're coming from, it was a local brokerage. It was a Berkshire Hathaway company, and it got purchased by another brokerage.
Yes.
And all this has transpired this week, so I know it's very fresh.
We're talking about something that happened on Tuesday. There was an announcement that our company had been purchased by a local company here, which is fine. That happens all the time. However, the time frame that we had was very quick to kind of just move our stuff over, get going. And again, I understand all that. I would probably do it the same way. I don't know if there's a perfect way to absorb Guarantee in general, because again, we're 550 agents. We had 7 offices. Like that is complicated and beyond my pay grade. Okay. I just buy and sell dreams. But for them, it's been a struggle because, you just wake up Tuesday morning, you think you're going to the normal meeting, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, kind of need you guys to figure out where you're going to be very quickly. However, everyone at the new company has been doing it. I toured them yesterday, met with the owner yesterday. They are trying their best to accommodate, and they have a very good setup right now. Their big old conference room has about 10 different people with laptops in front of them. They've got people that they're just helping people do simple things, because Guarantee had a lot of agents that had only worked there. They don't know how to go into e-licensing and change their broker. They don't know how to do any of that stuff. They don't. And it's something that Courtney and I had talked about, and something that I've talked about just in general with other agents. The evolution of the payment structure in real estate has evolved the last few years from broker to salesperson and I'm pretty plugged in. I was oblivious to. I was oblivious to cap systems. I was oblivious to all this stuff because I had a really good guarantee. Now, can I do the math on the cap stuff? And I'm like, oh, crap, I would have made more money somewhere else. No, it's just math, but math is intimidating sometimes, and taking a little less now in order to get a lot more later. Sometimes you worry, especially in uncertain times. But anyways, it has been a whirlwind the last couple of days, and I'm hanging in there the best I have. My class said I looked exhausted on Wednesday night, and I was exhausted. We're getting there. Everything's going to be fine.
It will. It will. Change is hard, whether it's good change or not. It's just people don't like change naturally. It's just
no, but it all goes back to, the agent.
Yeah.
Some I learned when I first started, you do have the agents that bounce around from brokerage to brokerage. And their sort of thinking is that it's not me, it's the brokerage, where it sometimes is more you, and it's not the brokerage's fault for the either success you have or lack of success. I mean, we live in a very technological age. I was just talking about in class the other night where, gone are the days where, Zillow isn't picking up the IDX from like the local MLS. I used to banter on that I hated Zillow as a search tool for buyers. It's always been a great, beginning point for buyers to get their interest. But like, I'd have 10 clients send me over a Zillow listing, or I'd have a client send over 10 Zillow listings, and like 8 of them were pending, 1 of them didn't exist, and 1 sold like 2 months ago. And it just doesn't work like that anymore. Everything is integrated. Social media has been a tremendous value proposition for agents, and it's something that I always encourage my mentees to utilize the best that they can. That you're talking about some that most of the time is free. Even when you're doing targeted ads, they are very affordable to do, and you can get very specific where your ads are. There's just a lot of stuff like that in the end, I mean, does your brokerage and your support matter? It always will. But can you strive as an individual agent wherever you are at times? You can.
Right.
You really can.
It's your business.
It is.
But, with that same thought process, I mean, I've been an independent broker for over 10 years, 12 years.
12 years.
And even then I saw the writing on the wall that I wanted to stay ahead of things, and ended up, partnering with a cloud-based brokerage because it just felt like it was the right move for the direction we're going in our industry.
So when I left New Homes, I went to a now defunct company in the United States called Purple Bricks. I don't know if everybody remembers Purple Bricks. We had TV ads all over the place. I was telling Courtney earlier, when I was there, one of the big selling points for them was that they were in negotiations with Ryan Reynolds to be in one of their commercials. They had offers out to them, and they promptly ran out of money a couple months later. But anyways, their issue was more over expansion and very little supervision over whatever seed money they were sent over from England to do. But, their whole thing was that they were passing the savings to the consumer because of lack of brick and mortar offices. They didn't have to pay leases. Their admins were all centralized. And there is logic to that to an extent. And again, we were talking about it earlier too. Like, COVID changed stuff.
Mm-hmm.
COVID changed a lot of the business dynamic. It's why a lot of corporations are having issues with people coming back to the office and so forth. It's why every single office that has big offices that I've gone into this week, they say, oh, it's really busy on Wednesdays. Just ignore the fact that there's two people in here right now. And I get that, and that goes back to culture and how much team building you really want to do and how much culture you want to have and so forth. But do you need necessarily an office to go sit down and do your work? I always equate it to person that has home gym, person that needs to put on the gym clothes, get in the car, and go to the gym. Well, it's serious though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've got a treadmill in my garage. You know what's on my treadmill right now? My Christmas tree, and then half my office that I stacked on top of my Christmas tree because it's in a very nice box. I got a really nice Christmas tree this year.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I bought it in July. It's a good time to buy fake Christmas trees. It's in July. But anyways, that's what my treadmill's doing.
Yeah.
If I got to go to the gym, I got to put on clothes and I got to go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with real estate. Less distractions.
Right. It's true. You've got to have your systems and discipline, right? I mean, Atomic Habits, great book.
Mm-hmm.
It all kind of aligns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, can we touch on what you are teaching to your students at the college? I mean, these are all new. This is a tough market, like you said. What are you telling them? What's some advice?
So we have at Fresno City College, we have a real estate certification program. Okay, we have RE40 and RE41, which is real estate practice and real estate principles. So those are the two core that we have, if you go to any online school in order to get your licensure.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, the business department has things with the DRE that satisfy the third requirement to sit for your real estate exam. So, essentially what we're doing, and in my classes specifically, we are going over page by page of what you need to do to not only pass the license to get your license, but we're also looking at day-to-day things that you will do as a real estate agent because the book and the course just really touches on that.
Mm-hmm.
So with me, I have a story for just about every scenario because I've lived through it all. I give my 2 cents on, maybe you should focus on this. I talk about tracking.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about, what I said earlier about instant gratification. Because you're going to try everything and you don't know what works. Like for a year, did open houses work for me? They did. Okay, well, maybe I should try more. You need to, did you pay for a service that was supposed to get you leads? Did that come back and get you anything? So a lot of stuff like that, I'm just trying to instill in them early on, see what works. What doesn't work, is that because of lack of effort on your part, or was it because it's just an impossible task and you need to take away from that and you need to go in and focus your effort on the money-making things that were making you money and redouble your effort on that? A lot of the stuff is evolution of, where technology and real estate is going now. And again, these kids, you got to take it back to when you first had an idea in your head that being a real estate professional was at all a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's where these kids are at. I have a lot of people, well, are your students saying anything about the NARSA? They don't know one dang thing about the NARSA. They don't know.
Yeah.
They're not plugged in. They scroll on their Instagram. They're not following 20 different real estate related accounts. Apparently, they're not even Googling anything real estate because none of their algorithms are picking it up either. So, it's just a blank canvas. And for me, I just try to go over the things that worked for me, the mistakes I've made so they don't make the same mistakes. And I try to bring in different voices to come talk to them, different ideas on brokerages, where the good fits are, the pros and cons of everything. Because again, I like everybody at face value.
Mm-hmm.
I just try. We all need each other for some reason or another. You bring me a good offer with good money, that's good stuff. My whole goal is I've got a seller trying to sell. You got a buyer trying to buy. How do we get to the finish line?
Right.
It's always been my mindset on it. I try to be easy as heck and accommodating to work for. Sometimes that works for other people and sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the way that I've always built my business and it's worked so far.
That's
How many
great.
students do you currently have?
So apparently, I've been told I have one of the most popular classes in at Fresno City College.
Not surprised.
We have limits at 40
Hmm.
per semester. The first day, first. So leading up to when school starts, the emails start.
Mhm.
Professor Gannon, can I add your class? Professor Gannon, can I add your class? And I look at my thing and I got 40 kids enrolled. I got 10 on the waiting list. And then I end up with about 25 kids that want me just to magically add them, even though that's not how we add kids anymore.
Yeah.
Like they don't read their emails. Like there is no ad code for me to send them. It doesn't work like that. So anyways, policy is, you show up for the first day, you're on the list, you're in. You don't show up, you're gone. Which took me a semester to kind of get because I'm so nice. And I'm like, well, stuff happens. Listen, these kids have been an endless supply of new excuses for me to use with clients. Like my dog. Well, so my dog literally did eat my book one semester, my pit bull puppy. I had pictures of it and I sent it to the business department and they still laugh at me about it 2 years later. Like she just consumed my book and I needed them to FedEx me one really quick. But my car won't work. My check engine light came on, this and that. But anyways, it's 40 per class per semester with probably half of that in addition trying to add. When I walk through the hallway, it's just filled.
Mhm.
Absolutely filled.
Did the student get a real estate license or is it just a real estate class? Like,
So it is a class when you have completed all 3 requirements, just like going online to get your real estate to sit for your test. It's the same stuff. It covers the same stuff. You upload the transcripts to the licensing system. It pops out a state exam date. You
Cool.
pay it, and boom, you are a bona fide real estate professional.
Great.
All the fun that comes with that.
Yes.
Very cool.
But it's been very fulfilling. A lifetime ago, I wanted to be like a high school history teacher. I mean, I was accepted into the credentialing program until life and children and a ex-wife came into the picture, and I pivoted from there to Fresno County very quickly. But, I wanted to be a teacher. And, it's funny, like life gets in the way, and then all of a sudden they need somebody and somebody recommended me for it. And I had about the worst interview I think I've ever had in my life. Even my wife looked over at me and goes, what the hell just happened to you right now? You were all over the place. And I'm like, I don't know. I just
got it.
And then I didn't hear anything for like a month. Like I'm mad at Fresno City College. I'm like, rah, 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 they don't want me, whatever. I don't want to do it anyway. And then they called and here we are. And I go around calling myself a professor of real estate, even though, okay, listen, technically I'm not a professor. I make them do that. You need a PhD and you need to be tenured and everything. So I'm going to put that in quotes in case anybody gets all offended and so forth. But also the requirements to teach at the community college level are much different. I have bachelor's degrees and I have a lot of experience. And for some of this stuff, that's all you need. But I love it.
It's your passion.
It really lifts me up to go do this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody gets to have real estate consume them. Even when I'm not really working, I'm doing my thing. And it's nice.
Well, I think with realtors, just from the group that I've had over the years, the ones that are really good have what I've always said is a teacher's heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I could just see the two professions really align.
Well, and I think that's why mentoring, especially early on, came to me. Guarantee had standards of what they wanted in their mentors, and it was around 100 transactions, and I had about 17.
Mm-hmm.
But I also spent a lot of time at the office. I've always tried to be helpful. I've always tried to assist. And for one reason or another, real estate contract to me has always come easily. I see it as a living, breathing organism. I see it as constantly evolving. I see the logic progression of things and why things happen here and what a counter means and how, the counter is only changing one or two little parts of all this stuff and then how an addendum works and so on and so forth. So I don't know. It always came naturally to me, and not everything comes naturally to everybody else, but it's just kind of reaffirmed that this is where I need to be. And, I'm 43 now. I did start at Old Fig, which, was the senior ladies club, and they're still kicking, 12 years later. I don't know how real estate professionals actually ever retire. It's got to be hard.
A lot of people don't.
No, because you're one phone call away from like 10 grand
Right.
every single day.
Mhm.
Like, how do you shut that off?
Yeah.
Your background as a social worker certainly mirrors your desire to be a servant leader in real estate. It sounds like, and even as a teacher. So that's awesome. Congratulations on all the success, and I can't wait to hear what happens next after 5 p.m. today. We're gonna have to have like a follow-up combo to see where
You'd probably have a lot of different guests with a lot of different opinions about what's going on right now, but a lot of it's fear. And we see that everywhere too, especially with like the NARA settlement and everything like that. And something that I try to educate myself as much as I can. I try to look through it through a logical lens, and something that I constantly remind people is that there was a reason why this was brought up in Missouri and not in California, where compensation is clearly listed on page 1 of the RLA. And I can't speak to the way that other states do things.
Right.
Even looking at, we settled for a quarter on a dollar. They don't normally settle lawsuits that are slam dunks for quarters on the dollar and let you sign things that say we're held harmless on everything, and you can't sue us again. Will it change? Yes. Will it evolve? Yes. Will you have clients that go, well, I'm only paying 3%. I'm not going to think. You might, but ask me if I'm going to stop taking listings at 6%. I'm not.
Right.
I'm always going to offer compensation because I know the benefit of it.
Right.
And that's, do I need to send over extra pieces of paper? I guarantee probably have 100% we will have a new RLA in July, because we're going to have to take off the advertised in the MLS compensation to the buyer's agent. We legally will not be able to have that anymore. Are we going to have to send over broker compensation agreements? Yes. I do it all the time. I did it the other day because it was listed in the Bakersfield MLS and I couldn't see what their compensation was. Just send it over. It's an easy form. You don't know how to do it? Hit me up. I'll show you how to do it. It's a simple 1 page.
Right.
So some of this stuff, and again, the purchase agreement when I started, I think was like 8 pages, and now it's, much larger now. And the running joke is, this is what people got sued for last year. This is what people got sued for the year before. And this is why the language is in there now. It's
the nature of our industry.
It is, because we handle a lot of money.
Right. Right.
All the time.
Yep.
It's not just all Lambos and champagne.
Yep.
Well, and you can't take the emotions out of this. I mean, it's an emotional purchase. I've always thought psychology should be a class that's required in our licensing, like you said earlier. And it's just, we will get through this. It's not going to be, No,
supply and demand economics are probably much more of a pressing issue than the extra paperwork we're going to need to do to buyers, agents, compensation.
Agreed. I so agree. Well,
rates are fun.
Yeah.
I've stopped predicting.
But tell our listeners, Ryan, where they can find more information about you, your business, your teaching.
Well, the best place to land is just my Instagram handle is just my name. I've got a little blue check mark after Ryan Gaynor. That's a good place to start. My phone. Listen, Google my name. Just Google Ryan Gaynor. It's got it all listed there. I do it for my kids. It makes me feel like a big deal. But yeah, I mean, you just need to Google me. My phone number's there. Everything's there. It's just like whenever anybody says, well, I'm going to delete your number from my phone, Ryan, I'm like, I'm not hard to find.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it.
I appreciate you too. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us on our podcast today, Ryan. And I look forward to meeting you in person at some point in time.
We'll figure that out soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, Michelle.
Bye.
Bye. Talk to you soon.